Part 87. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 866. Chapter 866 Direct Fright. YY Voice Channel 1778555 Intercourse. Welcome to the Great Treasure Home. 1_YY Channel 7.7 *8 This kind of 9 eyes heavenly bead, that is, in this kind of auction where many cultivators are gathered, some cultivators may have some special purposes, only to find the price. If it is changed for some small intercourse, no one cares. Maybe. This book is from B. Even at this kind of auction, the price of thousands of spiritual stones is estimated to be over, because the shapeshift great art that has been passed down by the ancient poisonous sect is certainly very rare. It is estimated that the entire auction venue must be saved. Only Xuanhuan is alone. Thousands of spiritual stones, for the general cultivator, are huge, and you can take a pair of shapeshift great art great treasure. Almost all cultivators don't use such value. In exchange for a piece, it is not a direct upgrade. Cultivation base or something that enhances the enemy's powerful energy. The 20,000-piece spiritual stones is an amazing price, and it is directly added to the 20,000 lower-priced spiritual stones from 2,000 products, spiritual stones. This way of bidding is unprecedented for all cultivators present. Unheard of. The fifth, you arrange it, check what the people in the room are. After standing up, I was wearing a golden gown and a flat face, but my eyes were slightly concave, and the 50-year-old male cultivator, which looked very hazy, immediately looked a little older than him. Great treasure, the cultivator wearing a blue-black quaint leather armor said this. Good. The cultivator, wearing a black and black leather armor, nodded and immediately walked out of the quiet room where the Dugu family was. It is reasonable to say that even if Xuanhuan makes a purchase, it will not do such a move. A young man wearing a pure black, faintly somewhat bat-like runes shapeshift great art, frowned, and couldn't understand what he wanted. This young man is somewhat similar to Xuanhuan's face, but his power is much stronger than Xuanhuan, the momentum of a superior. If you look at the price first, you can talk about the origin of this person among the VIP rooms. Another one is the most great treasure, and the yellow robe and the old man who looks like he is more than 60 years old, after saying this sentence, is waiting for the surging sound to increase the price. But at this time, in the auction venue where Weisuo did not have any surging sound, there was another surging sound of a female cultivator. 2,000 1,000 down spearing spirit stones. Among the VIP boxes in which Weisuo and Ling Longtian are located, Weisuo smiled slightly but did not bid. The bid was exactly what Xuanhuan shouted. He knew that Sun Zhengui had not had time to bring Jade Talisman to Xuanhuan and Yes Yaozheng, so Xuanhuan and Yes Yaozheng were afraid that Nine Eyes heavenly bead was taken directly. Under such lust conditions, the price increase will continue. 2,000 products of spiritual stones. Just at this time, another surging sound sounded up. The people of the Dugu family are asking for the price. Weisuo and Ling Longtian couldn't help but look at each other. The price was the same as the 4 people in the Dugu family. Do you scare them directly? Weisuo is now a playful great treasure. It is estimated that if Nangong Yuking is here, he will criticize him for putting spiritual stones out of spiritual stones. 100,000 down products spiritual stones. Weisuo haha, after a smile, directly out of the surging sound quote. Hua. Weisuo reported the price, and the entire venue was suddenly lost. Not to mention that the remaining 3 cultivators in the Dugu family's room were all shocked. Even the long-haired old man who hosted the auction of the great treasures underneath couldn't help rubbing the rubbing ears, thinking that he was wrong. This guest dared to ask the newspaper, but 100,000 downscale spiritual stones. This long-haired old man couldn't help but ask for surging sound again. Ah, sorry, some of them are wrong. I quoted 200,000 downscale spiritual stones. Weisuo haha smiled. Hua. This time, the venue that has not yet fully settled down is suddenly awkward. The 100,000 spiritual stones have been scared to death, and now they have changed their 200,000 products to spiritual stones. What the hell is this guy? Among the rooms in the Dugu family, the three cultivators were all great treasures, and they couldn't speak for a while. The long-haired old man was also a naked body, and almost fell from the high platform. This time he was sure that he had not heard the mistake, just that Wei Suo was crazy. Ling Longtian couldn't help but grin. Don't look at Wei Suo. This time, spiritual stones is not a mistake for spiritual stones, but she is very clear. This 9 eyes heavenly bead is a Dugu family deliberately commissioned this square market auction, so Wei Suo took out 200,000 products of spiritual stones. In addition to a little processing fee, the rest of the spiritual stones still have to go to the pockets of the Dugu family. And Wei Suo did this. Dugu family is even a fool, and certainly feel that Wei Suo has a problem. When Wei Suo dealt with the Dugu family, spiritual stones still returned to his hands. So this damn swindler is really a horrible thing. I found out that the other person is 4 people, one of them is not an accident, it should be Golden Core Great Treasure Cultivator at this time. The previous cultivator, wearing a black leather armor, was called the 5th by the 7 uncles and returned to the room, speaking to the 3. Golden Core Great Treasure Cultivator, wearing a black shape-shift great art suit, Dugu Yuyun's great treasure brother, suddenly looked tight. What should I do? Dung Yuyun, what did the guy call the Golden Core Great Treasure Cultivator? 7 uncles wearing a gold shirt took a deep breath, said a gloomy face, no matter what, have to prevent. The old 5, it seems that you have to run quickly, please move the armor reverend. It's just that armor reverend is not insured. As far as I know, Uyghur reverend is also in this auction venue. The old-fashioned Huangbao old man, who was the most great treasure, said after he had indulged. The Uyghur reverend is also in this auction venue. This person only recognizes that spiritual stones, does not recognize people. If so, then we will let him also shoot. The 7 uncles wearing a gold shirt immediately nodded and decided. Predecessors, 9 eyes heavenly bead and 2 of my senior friends, I have brought you there. At this time, Sun Zhengui's surging sound also rang outside the Wei Suo's door. Sun Zhengui had seen Wei Suo come up with so many spiritual stones in one fell swoop, and knew that Wei Suo was definitely not a normal golden core cultivator, so this time Wei Suo shouted too much, but Sun Zhengui was also a nonsense. Did not say much. Please come in. Wei Suo took a deep breath and turned to the door. After so many years of no news, goodbye to the old man, his heart lust is also very excited, difficult to calm. A surging sound of ka sounded and the door was pushed open. Sun Zhengui and a female cultivator and a male cultivator appeared in Wei Suo's sight. The female cultivator looks very handsome, Xiajiabiu, naturally with a hint of shame. Male cultivator is burly, thick eyebrows, and looks very honest. These 2 people are just like Yeguwei and Yes Yaozheng. Compared with a few years ago, only Yeguwei seems to be a little taller, his face is more licking, and Yes Yaozheng hasn't changed much, but the description of the 2 is a little bit embarrassing. Because Wei Suo concealed his appearance at the moment, when they saw Wei Suo and others at a glance, they immediately revised a hint of uncertainty. Don't be surprised, I am Wei Suo. Wei Suo heart lust excited sound transmission to the ears of Yeguwei and Yes Yaozheng. Ah! Yeguwei and Yes Yaozheng both were a surging sound. Yeguwei suddenly grabbed her mouth, and Yes Yaozheng was great treasure eyes, suddenly became extremely excited, could not help but want to hug Wei Suo's look, but it seems that the reaction is not appropriate. For a while the birth of the meal is in the local area. When Sun Zhengui heard the name that Yes Yaozheng shouted, he immediately thought of a certain life, and suddenly he was naked and his face became pale. Sun Zhengui, you come in and talk. Wei Suo saw the god lust like Sun Zhengui, but only said the sentence. After Sun Zhengui's cold and sweaty Yes Yaozheng and Yeguwei walked into the room and closed the door, Wei Suo was on his own. A touch of his face, but the first thing to restore the truth. Sun Zengui, presumably my identity, you have already guessed one or two now. After restoring his own face, Wei Suo looked at Sun Zengui, who couldn't help but tremble. Younger generation, Sun Zengui was so nervous that he couldn't speak. Below is Wei Suo. Wei Suo calmly looked at Sun Zengui. Wei, but you do not need to be nervous, although some famous, but you should also know, in the next not only never embarrassed and I as the enemy of the sect, and if for me to do things, I have the grace of the people, in the next always springs, so Sun Zengui, as long as I do not expose my identity and whereabouts to any cultivator, I will not embarrass Sun Zengui and this square city, and Sun Zengui for me to acquire water. Attribute monster core and other things, the next on the contrary, I will thank Sun Zengui. The younger generation will not dare to disclose the identity of their predecessors to any cultivator. Hearing Wei Suo, Sun Zengui recovered some personality, but immediately said with trepidation, but there is a cultivator of the Dugu family, and I have inquired about the predecessors. I just told the predecessors a golden core cultivator, the rest didn't say much. If this is the case, you can then fake the identity of a golden core rogue cultivator and reveal something to the Dugu family. Wei Suo looked at Sun Zengui. As for whether there is any sect power behind you, I don't want to know too much, but I think you should understand that no matter what sect you are behind, even true martial section and mystic wind sect, if I am now against you, if I am against you, these sects are useless. The younger generation knows that the younger generation is the industry of Zhujia Commercial Bank, and it has nothing to do with section. Please be assured of this. Sun Zengui immediately said. Great treasure sweating. Well, you don't have to be nervous, you can talk to my friend about intercourse. If there is nothing, you will go out. Wei Suo nodded and said. Sun Zengui was relieved. After rubbing the cold sweat, he nodded. After another ceremony, he retired. Yeah, great treasure brother, Xiao Yi sister, I can't think of finding you at this secret place. After Sun Zengui came out, Wei Suo looked at Ye Wei and Yes Yaozheng and said with great excitement. Brother Wei, Yes Yaozheng stepped forward, a bear hugs Wei Suo. The meaning is still unfinished, then what other chapters are popular? You Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 867. Chapter 867. An Ancient. YY Voice Channel 177855 Intercourse. Welcome to the Great Treasure Home. 1_YY Channel 7.7 8. Where have you been in these years? Wei Suo is very excited. I don't know where to start. His friends are not too many, and Ye Wei and Yes Yaozheng are in his mind, just like his brothers and sisters. It is even more unusual. This book is from 16cook.org. Brother Wei, Yes Yaozheng was a little too excited and couldn't speak. Big brother Wei, Ye Wei also came forward and apparently also did not know where to start. We have gone to the cold great treasure in the past few years. After a while, Yes Yaozheng finally recovered a little calmly. He looked at Wei Suo and said with joy. We also inquired about your news and thought that you have fallen. Not long ago, we came back from the cold great treasure. I heard a lot of your things lust. Brother Wei, I don't think you have such amazing achievements. I heard that you have killed many sect master and old antique golden core great treasure cultivators in the cloud spirit great treasure. It shocked the entire cloud spirit great treasure and suddenly returned to Tianxian. Great treasure? I happened to fight shapeshift great art with true martial sect master, and I got back to Tianxian great treasure with his Dao technique shapeshift great art. Wei Suo looked at Ye Wei, who seemed to have grown taller, and Yes Yaozheng, who looked even older. It was hard to calm down and took the two to sit down and talk. After that, I just heard the news of Dugu Yuyun, and then I came over. I couldn't think of you. How can you go to the lonely great treasure? We used to escape to Tianxian great treasure central region, and later thought that you died in the hands of Eastern Jade Paradise. Dugu great treasure brother took us to the cold great treasure, because he has his dugu in his hand. A hidden secret place of the family is in the cold great treasure. Yeguwei is as embarrassing as it was a few years ago, but it seems to be slightly bold and precious, and some shy and constantly looking at Wei Suo and explained. Sir, a surging sound, she just said the secret place. Wei Suo direct divine consciousness of pressure, too true Yuan played, Dugu Yufan and the old man stunned. Oh, these two are the people of the Dugu family. I forced them to come to this secret place and didn't want them to listen to our conversation. Seeing the surprise of Yes Yaozheng and Yeguwei, Wei Suo smiled and explained. The Dugu brothers had an ancient map in their family. When they arrived at his father's generation, they finally found some clues. The record should be in the secret place of the wild treasure outside the heavens dome. After Yes Yaozheng responded, he explained to Wei Suo, the ancient map shows the rim of the secret place cultivator. Round back to the tower, Wei Suo and green-robed old man are a slight glimpse. Yes, and according to the ancient map, this round of the tower is still the rim of the divine mystic fifth layer's great treasure. Yes Yaozheng has no reservations about Wei Suo at all, and it is completely like Wei Suo's brother, honestly speaking. What? Yes Yaozheng. This sentence exports. Wei Suo and green-robed old man, and even Ling Longtian are suddenly surprised by great treasure. Wei Suo and green-robed old man are no strangers to the Rim Return Tower. At the time of Demonic Eye Island, Wei Suo directly dug a rim to return to the tower. His top-rank spirit protecting ancient talisman is it was obtained by the roundabout. But at the time, Wei Suo listened to green-robed old man very clearly. This kind of rim returning to the tower is usually a giant treasure cultivator of some golden core fifth layer. When the impact of divine mystic realm fails, or the life essence is exhausted. Arranged, and then cast the rim of the ancient rim to return to the secret place, and then take the next generation to get the things in this roundabout. Divine mystic great treasure can be decorated with this kind of wheel back to the tower is not, but very few, because great treasure most divine mystic great treasure can be sect cultivator, even if the arrangement round back to the tower, is also arranged in sect, and divine mystic great treasure between the fight shapeshift great art are heaven shaking. To this level of great treasure can fight shapeshift great art, a loss of results great treasure is God-shaped, so throughout the ages, Enron Shiwa golden core cultivator is quite a lot, because golden core see ultivaterline things or have gu bogey, but divine mystic great treasure can but great treasure many are do shapeshift great art died, or in the inquiry of some secret blocky, or repair refining what work shapeshift great art, breakthrough situation unsuccessful and fell. Divine mystic fifth layer's rim is back to the tower, the precious to ancient true immortal, the great treasure tomb. And the restrictions must be extremely amazing, and the general cultivator is not close to shapeshift great art at all. Just think about some of the secrets of the seven great treasure secret place. You can know the great treasure of divine mystic fifth layer, how amazing the gods. Can you be sure that the divine mystic fifth layer great treasure can return to the tower? Because of this thing, some of the cultivators of the Dugu family became greedy and dealt with the father of Dugu Yuyun, who was the owner of the Dugu family at that time. Wei Suo's brows slightly wrinkled. You go to the cold great treasure, you want to get some of the things in this round of the tower. Third floor. Yes, listen to the Dugu brothers, because his father is preparing to choose him as the heir to the family, and pass on the latest ancient map, the secret line, to him. The result is his great treasure and the elders of some ethnic groups. Causing this change, Yes Yaozhen nodded. At that time, his father and his relatives had not yet had time to tell him the ancient map, the secret line, and he was sneaked down by several elders in the family. He has been studying this ancient map, and later after we fled to Tianxian Great Treasure Central region, we happened to have some secret place of this ancient map. Only took us to the cold Great Treasure. But this ancient map has been robbed in the cold Great Treasure. If you meet Brother Wei early, you will be fine. Dugu family actually can't get this ancient map even if they find the Dugu Yuyun brother. Immediately, Yes Yaozhen grabbed his head with some frustration and looked at Wei Suo. Is it robbed? Wei Suo and Ling Longtian suddenly took a look. This ancient map is also a family of Dugu family generations. It is said to be another family caravan. It happened to be from a secret place wasteland, from the remains of a seated golden core great treasure cultivator. It is not ordinary object. Later that family decline, this ancient map and flow fell to the hands of the Dugu family, to Dugu Yuyun father pro this generation, only to explore. Recorded is a secret place round back to the tower, and according to the Golden Core Great Trey Asur cultivator records, that secret place round back to the tower may be left over. The time is too long, because the Terra, etc. have been changed relations, so many restrictions have been broken, according to the Golden Core Great T Reger cultivator, another 200 years, a lot of restrictions powerful energy should have been completely disappeared. You can safely into the legacy of this map Golden Core cultivator, distance from my they are now thousands of years, so as long as the secret place round back to the tower, it should have been able to enter the. Yeguwei took the thread, although still a little shy, but speak very clearly, will be very quick to speak out. Only this ancient map on the record, just said in the cold great treasure Lu Heaven's dome outside of a secret place, with naked body in which direction, record is what place, simply do not see, so we came to the lonely cold great treasure after the land, has been trying to find a map of the wilderness, and then we went to secret place to find the map of the wilderness outside, but it is caused by lonely cold great treasure the attention of a family. The family itself has collected a lot of wild great treasure map, and then they directly suspected what we have in hand secret place map, just do not know exactly in the wild great treasure Lu secret place, so there is a golden core cultivator directly to find us, we helpless, will ancient map intercourse out, and then took him to look at that Zhang ancient map. We took the opportunity to move a ground escape talisman, just fled out, and then we were hunted by that family, and fled back to the Skyxian great treasure Lu. That said, although they got the ancient map, they couldn't find out because they didn't understand the ancient map's secret place. I wanted to hold you back. So even if they get an ancient map, they don't necessarily find this roundabout. Wei Suo's eyes flashed. What is the name of this family? It is the Huangpu aristocratic family. In the eastern part of the cold treasure, it is a very precious treasure of the secret place family. It is said that there are many golden core great treasure cultivators. Yes, Yao Zheng replied. Dugu Yuyun's brother said that the ancient map will only reveal the true handwriting after a day of freezing with a very cold chill. So if it's not coincidental, they should be hard to come by. Because the material of the ancient map looks very old, they shouldn't dare to fold it. The matter of this ancient map will be postponed first. Dugu Yuyun now secret place, how is his lust shape? Wei Suo looked at Yes Yao Zheng and Yeguwei. As long as he is free, he will not refuse to go to the cold great treasure. Now, with the exception of some of the cultivation base's amazing divine mystic great treasure, there is no potential for him to be jealous. What's more, he is now repairing the double golden core, and the heaven level top rank is the function of the shapeshift great art. The meat is covered with the heavenly dragon star body tempering technique, the golden core is amazing, and the resources needed for the repair. I don't know much more than the average cultivator. Collecting resources by himself is far slower than stealing from sect and his family. In the face of these powerful forces, he will not refuse to be a strong bandit. He actually hides in a small shop in the city. The master of the store is old with him. His injury is now life-threatening, but he needs the 9 dragons to remove the drug. Yes, Yao Zheng said, now he is all in the black and blue, stinking, it will definitely be released as soon as it comes out. Since the current life is worry-free, then we simply wait for the auction to end, and then the great treasure shakes the past of great treasure. I want the Dugu family to deal with us, and what kind of means are prepared? Wei Suo looked at the room where the Dugu family was in, and had a surging sound. He became an orphan at an early age, and now he is becoming a god, but he wants to see his parents and never get it, but this Dugu Yun's great treasure brother killed his own biological father for his family and an ancient map. This is, in his opinion, it is sin. The armor reverend has already said, and I heard some news, the golden core cultivator that was only bidding, most likely Snow White butt peak reverend. At this time, in the room of the Dugu family, the cultivator wearing the black and black dress, which was called the Five Uncle, was gone in, and said quickly. The meaning is still unfinished, then what other chapters are popular? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 868. This kind of Purdue divine light attack is not painful, but it makes people feel that their own soul is being eroded constantly, which makes people feel terrified. Almost subconsciously, Wei Suo moved from Xyloguzi's Daxianyan, and the scales containing the natural avenue sounded in his mind, just like a natural mountain, with plants growing and clear springs flowing. This celestial fairy sound suddenly suppressed the countless enlightenment of Buddha, into Buddha in Wei Suo's mind. It was like a natural mountain that completely crushed the thousands of Buddha caves, making Wei Suo's Lingtai suddenly clear. Almost at the same time, Wei Suo felt a weird air machine slam out of his ion, and also directly smashed the strange power of the surrounding Purdue God light, and at the same time countered out, but the power of counterattack seemed to also break in. The void of the golden E-mask. An ecstasy filled Weso's heart instantly. This Purdue divine light is a weird way of erosion of mind, but whether it is the fairy sound of the road he got in Xiaoling Valley, or the weird milky E-crystal of the iron mouth, it can restrain this mystery. Brother Wei, what's the taste of Purdue God's light? At this time, Zantai Linglan, who was watching from afar, made such a voice. The Buddhist light produced by Mingde and 3 others filled the entire golden light mask. He just thought that Wei Suo's taste must be very uncomfortable. I have the opportunity to grab you and try it myself, Ling Longtian screamed. Her hands have covered her head, as if there are countless things drilling in and out of her head, her body shuddering. Buzz. Wei Suo did not stay in the slightest, excited the indestructible net bottle, and put him and Ling Longtian into it. Useless, you can't stop Purdue God's light with this thing, Mingde exclaimed. After starting the cast at this moment, the eyes of the 2 old elders of the merits and deeds, the bitter cold elders and the Qingtian Taoist, can be opened and can make a sound, but they seem to be unable to move, and it seems that all the cultivation and essence are gathered on the little gold above them. Buddhas. This Daoputa God of light, it is indeed not easy to show. Mingde, I will definitely let you know what is the end of betrayal. Indestructible Jingzi, the slightest light of Buddha reflected in it. It seems that the strength of strength and the gold body can't be stopped at all, but Wei Suo does. After crying quietly, he quickly approached Ling Longtian's side. The power scattered from the weird milky white E-crystal nucleus can almost just crush the Buddha's power in the space around 2 people, and shocked the weird power and countered. This. Ling Longtian's body shook slightly and recovered suddenly, his eyes widening. This thing can resist even this kind of mystic power, it's weird. Immediately, Ling Longtian looked at Wei Suo, who made a quick eye towards her, and immediately reflected what happened. It was transmitted to Wei Suo's ear. This thing is definitely not mortal. Wei Suo nodded, the more he felt that this thing was extremely extraordinary. If you want to deal with me, I am afraid there is no chance. Seeing our acquaintance, you helped me kill Mingning. What are your last words? You might as well say it. If I can help you. Are done. Mingde's sarcasm voice came in. The prohibition of the void Taoist is too powerful. Even the counterattack power of this strange thing has penetrated into the void, but this is also good. They don't have the Buddha God light to work for us. Ling Longtian. After grinding my teeth, I became proud. Let them think we're recruiting. Last words are. Ling Longtian yelled at Wei Suo, and immediately called, Mingde, you villain, Can you kill Xantai Linglan and the other two old immortals first, then commit suicide? Dying to the end, I still dare to speak hard mind laughed. I and the two elders of the Tais Hang are not easy to display this Purdue God light. You can taste the taste of this Purdue God light. This Mingd is too hateful. It must be prepared to treat him well. At that time Ling Longtian hated his teeth a bit, and said, "Dead liar, wait for them to think that we are controlled by him. At that time, sneak attack in one fell swoop, first remove the Xantai Linglan. It's easy to cheat them now, but after 10 days, it should be difficult to cheat them. They must do something to determine whether we are spent by them." Wei Suo's eyes flashed, and he said, "You can only delay the time as much as possible, and don't let them show up. Otherwise, if they show up early, and then attract some powerful characters, or even come to the divine profound power, then our situation will be very bad." Ling Long Sky was startled, and nodded immediately. Wei Suo should say well. With these four people's efforts, they will definitely not be released easily at that time. The best result is that when they are not working now, this golden light mask will also be broken. It is still possible to deal with these four people. And according to what Xantai Linglan said before, the time that this golden light mask exists is probably only a little longer than the casting time of Purdue Xuanhuan. Because Mingd is extremely confident about this kind of secret technique, and in fact, if it weren't for Weizhuo, he had already got this quirky thing in the shape of a milky white edate spar, and he had already died several times. This time even Weizhuo, if he can escape this robbery, Ling Longtian will certainly not be able to escape. Mingd is indeed abominable, but without him, we can't enter the Gongdizong, and we won't have so many amazing gains. Wei Suo sneered and said to Ling Longtian, "Ganja's sister, take the Daigo Shenkuo to help me take it out first." Dingxi Shenkuo? Do you want to practice the Immortal Root 5 secrets directly? Ling Longtian froze for a moment, but immediately reacted to what Wei Suo was going to do. Now in this situation, they seem to protect us. 10 days, it is enough to cultivate the 5 roots of the fairy root, and condense the fairy root and the double golden pill. I have thoroughly understood this method for a long time. Everything is complete, only at the end when condensing the fairy root and Shuang Jindan, it will cause a violent energy fluctuation, accompanied by the formation of outliers. In order not to arouse their suspicion, I can control my cultivation degree and condense this condensed fairy root and Shuang Jindan. Time control is at the end of their Puta Shen Guang spellcasting, and the golden light mask is about to disappear. Wei Suo's eyes flashed, planning in his heart, and at the same time transmitted to the ears of Ling Longtian. It seems that some figures have appeared in the world of monasticism between these 60,000 and 70,000 years. At least in our time, I haven't heard of any power that can cultivate the double golden pill and the double metaphysical phase. This Purdue light seems to be effective also for the old man in green robe, so scared that he would not dare to come out. This will definitely be scared to death in the ghost tank, thinking that we will all be saved by then. Ling Longtian whispered with this sentence, the white light flashed in his hand, but he took out the Beiyuan box containing the Daigo holy fruit. Anyway, it takes 10 days to spend. Idle and idle. Brother Wei, why don't you tell me how this taste is? Xantai Linglan was very cheap, and he said this again at this time. This person doesn't know where to get the inheritance of the void Taoist. Wei Suo ignored it, and after glancing at Ling Longtian, he opened the Beiyuan box in his hand. The whole Sayago fruit with roots and fruits was in the Beiyuan box. Before the two rushed away from the 7 treasures, they did not look closely. At this moment, I saw that the whole plant was not tall and golden. The shape of the ancient vine is somewhat similar to that of the vine, with an inch-long golden ray glowing. The golden ray glow alone makes people think it is the treasure of heaven and earth. On this vine, there are 2 fruits in total, which are all the size of an egg, translucent, and the epidermis is crystal clear, flashing a layer of misty radiance. There is no core at all in the epidermis, all inside it's all golden juice, very peculiar. Even the strength of the scolding is gone, it seems that Purdue Shenguang has begun to work. Wei Suo and Ling Longtian took out the Daigo Shenkuo, ignoring the Zantai Linglan, outside the gold mask, and could not see both Zantai Linglan and Mingde, who were immortal in the sight of the bottle, laughed and were very proud. Wei Suo took off a Daigo Saint fruit, put the Beiyuan Yu box back together, and then burst out a water spirit on his head, just like a fountain, swallowed Daija Saint fruit in it, ups and downs. Immediately, a series of Lingon phantoms suddenly appeared on his body, and then the lingering roots phantoms shook up, but a trace of white brilliance appeared on his body, bringing out all the roots phantoms. Wrapped it, forming a white light group. Ling Longtian is very speechless, because she now Weizhuo began to practice, and she has nothing to do, and she can't leave Weizhuo's side, only stick to Weizhuo's side. After glancing at Wei Suo very silently, she could only sit down next to Wei Suo Pan, taking out a piece of fine gold from time to time, and swallowing it. The white light group shuddered from time to time, and every time the tremor, Wei Suo's breath will have some subtle changes, and at the same time the water spirit on his head will wash away, washing out a sacred fruit. The force came out and penetrated into his body directly from the tip of his head. 6 days in a row Weizhuo was wrapped in white light group, and the divine saint fruit above the head was getting smaller and smaller. Outside the gold mask, Zantai Qingming is still waiting far away. The old antiques of Mingde and two meritorious ancestors continue to display the Purdue God's light. The old antiques of Mingde and two meritorious ancestors also seem to have been extremely tired, the figure is extremely haggard. There are still 4 days. It is obviously very expensive to perform this technique, but Mingde and two old antiques, Zantai Qingming, are more and more excited. Dashi Sumi, Daijia multiplying virtual footwork, Emperor's disillusioned eyes, many supreme mysteries and powerful magic weapons are already in sight. Without extinguishing the net bottle, Wei Suo continued to practice the 5 roots of immortal roots silently. On the 7th day, the white light group outside Wei Suo suddenly swelled out, and the breath of Wei Suo suddenly showed a tendency to skyrocket. Why, Ling Longtian was immediately alert, and her Wei Suo's cultivation had now temporarily stopped. Okay, Wei Suo transferred a voice to her ear. The 5 roots of the fairy root have reached the final step. Now, at any time, the fairy root can be condensed and the double golden pill can be produced. A Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 869. Chapter 869 Divine Manifestation. Why green-robed old man's eyes are green, staring at the stone egg. This is the divine phoenix egg of the ancient phoenix. This divine phoenix egg sinks into the ground among them. The heat of the underground fire can be hatched. This divine phoenix stone pellet will be formed if it is not successfully hatched. The stone skin of this divine phoenix stone pellet is a natural fire, even the 9-day divine fire can withstand, and the inner divine phoenix essence will form a few drops of magical medicine, containing amazing spiritual chi for cultivation. Comparable to top-rank spirit pellet. Divine Phoenix's eggs naturally contain the spirit pellet made by manifestation. Wei Suo's eyes are really caught. The blue luan of the ancient phoenix's powerful succubus deer manifestation can be known. The divine phoenix in the phoenix is said to be the emperor of the phoenix, and the complete egg into the spirit pellet is definitely amazing. Damn swindler, the stone of this divine phoenix stone pellet, at ancient time, is something that great treasure can look for to withstand the divine fire in heavenly tribulation. This kind of thing only came out in tens of thousands of years, and this place was actually hid by a dead mouse in your cat. Ling Longtian's eyes flashed in the golden light. There are 3 drops of liquid inside. After saying this, she ignored Wei Suo and talked with green-robed old man intercourse. It seems to be discussing the remaining 12 unknown giant treasures. The kid, there is something like the vine, and when you buy that thing, we can't see what it is later. Green-robed old man said this to Wei Suo. The eyes of Wei Suo and Ye Wei and Ye Xiaozheng suddenly gathered on the thing that green-robed old man said. That thing through the naked body is purple, 2 feet long, like a rhizome, and like a vine. The material looks far, like between wood and bone, some oily. This great treasure stone is made in an ancient desolate great treasure river. There are many unique rune, the stone is very tight, and even the spirit shift great art great treasure of spirit rank is completely untouched at this time. The long-haired old man has also begun to roughly introduce these unknown great treasures. 5,000 products of spiritual stones. 7,000 downs of spiritual stones. 1,000 downs of spiritual stones. The long-haired old man has just introduced the first thing, and many cultivators immediately screamed the price. This is a piece of blue-yellow great treasure stone. It is 1 person tall, and the naked body is round, like a cobblestone. There are many natural mountains and rivers on the surface, and this stone is called spirit rank shapeshift great art great treasure is not touched by shapeshift great art, it feels very strange, and the price is 3,500 downscale spiritual stones. This is just a piece of mountain river stone. These people should be the head of great treasure. Green-robed old man shook his head and said something gloating. What is Shanhe stone? Wei Suo's eyes flashed slightly and asked. It is a kind of stone in the ancient desolate great treasure. It is just an extremely tight texture. The stone in the original local vein is extruded. Except for the strange lines, there is no shapeshift great art for artifact refinement. The ordinary shapeshift great art shield is useless, it is a solid stone. The green-robed old man is even more devastating, as there have been bids for up to 20,000 downscale spiritual stones. 2,000 1,000 downcells of spiritual stones. What are you doing, really, when spiritual stones is not a spiritual stones, but let green-robed old man turn his head all the time, unbelievably called surging sound. Wei Suo is now surging sound, shouting the price of 21,000 1,000 spiritual stones. Steel teeth younger sister, look at the mountain river stone and there is nothing. Wei Suo said this to Ling Longtian at first, then looked at green-robed old man. This mountain river makes me feel like water spirit Yuan Qi, not an ordinary stone. There is a group of things in the lower part of the bottom, near the bottom. Ling Longtian in the eyes of the golden light, there are some reveals in the eyes of a surprised look, have a fist great treasure small, do not know what it is. What good things are there in the bread? Green-robed old man has a great treasure. 2,003,000 products under the spiritual stones. A surging sound came from the box on the second floor and joined the competition. 2,000 5,000 products of spiritual stones. Wei Suo directly increased the price. Since he became immortal spiritual roots, he has been extremely sensitive to the perception of various origin qi. According to the perception of ordinary cultivator, he may not feel any breath in the mountains and rivers, but he feels very subtle at the moment. However, the extremely pure water spirit Yuan Qi pulled out from it, which made him feel that the things wrapped in the mountains and rivers were also extraordinary. After all, according to green-robed old man's shapeshift great art, this mountain river stone is also something that can only be generated in the ages. 3,000 downs of spiritual stones. Someone added the price of 5,000 spiritual stones. This surging sound was previously played by Wei Suo, the young man wearing the purple gold shapeshift great art. This person is young, has the cultivation base of the golden core first layer, should have some great sect background, but when it competes with Wei Suo for the star nuclear, it is crushed by the spiritual stones by Wei Suo. 3,000 1,000 downcells of spiritual stones. Wei Suo does not move the surging sound color and continues to increase the price. 3,000 and 5,000 products of spiritual stones. The young man in the purple-colored shapeshift great art, which was separated from Wei Suo and others by 3 rooms, continued to bid, and the tone was very cold. This guy seems to be deliberately, and I am on the line. Wei Suo smiled a little. The young man wearing the purple gold shapeshift great art suit, but the cultivation base of the golden core first layer, is definitely without the shapeshift great art's perception of the anomalies in the mountains and rivers, and a piece of rock that does not know the purpose, to 30,000 down the spiritual stones. The above price is already very amazing. Now that Wei Suo does not have surging sound, there is no cultivator on the spot to bid again. 60,000 downscale spiritual stones. After a smile, Wei Suo shouted out the price. Because through the last bid, Wei Suo knows that the spiritual stones in this purple-colored shapeshift great art suit should not carry much, and the 100,000 products of spiritual stones are almost the limit, and over 50,000. The next product, spiritual stones, will make the other person's face look very ugly, not as good as the price below 50,000 products under spiritual stones. Hua. When we heard the offer from Wei Suo, the cultivator present was in vain. If it weren't for this kind of outcry, it would eventually fall into the hands of Wei Suo, otherwise they would have to doubt whether Wei Suo is the host of the city. Is it inadvertently presenting a spiritual stones vein with a great treasure of spiritual stones, and how many of the spiritual stones are in use? Many cultivators can't even afford to think like this. That guy is sneer at you, damn swindler. It seems that this guy will come to deal with you after the auction. At this point, Ling Longtian grinned at Wei Suo and said something like this. After Wei Suo shouted the 60,000 down-selling spiritual stones, the young man wearing the purple gold shapeshift great art clothing did not bid again. Wei Suo successfully photographed the mountain river stone. Yes, in this case, I will not waste the spiritual stones on him. Wei Suo he smiled and looked forward to the mountain river stone that was being taken down and sent to his room. Originally, he also wanted to deliberately lift the bar with the other party, so that the other person accidentally took two pieces of nothing. Now, when he heard Ling Longtian say this, he changed his mind instead, because if the young man really wants to auction after the auction, to deal with him, the spiritual stones on this young man is equito to be his. Don't waste it. This is a piece of metal and not jade. There are many strange brilliances in the moonlight. This is a peculiar stone egg. It is extremely tightly material and has a fire-breaking effect. Any fire element has no shapeshift great art to burn it. The long-haired old man introduced the unknown great treasure. Some of them immediately bid, some of them were unmanned bids, and after taking two green-robed old man and Ling Longtian to determine the useless things, they just introduced them. Extremely rare, divine phoenix stone pellet with an amazing spiritual herb. This stone dan is very strange in shape, and it has the effect of turning the fire, so many people now have a price. At this time, Sun Zengui personally brought people to carry the mountain river stone, so Wei Suo was not in a hurry to bid. After Sun Zengui left, he was directly playing with the dark gold sword Qi, which quickly cut the piece. The mountain river is stoned up. I saw the spirit rank shapeshift great art great treasure. Under the dark gold sword Qi, it was like a dead wood, and it was easily cut by pieces. According to the instructions of Ling Longtian, Wei Suo cut the first half directly, but after a dozen sword Qi, an amazing water spirit Qi that even Ye Wei and Yes Yaozhang could feel, came out from the mountains and rivers. What is it? Wei Suo was very surprised. The hands flashed silver, and the pieces of the mountains and rivers were carefully opened by hand. I saw the things wrapped in the mountains and rivers. It was actually a lotus-like thing. The white was yellow and seemed to be a cut plants, but spiritual Qi is very aggressive. It has been turned into a stone, but reaching out and touching it, it is completely petrified. This should be a residue of an unknown plant like black water lotus. Ling Longtian and green-robed old man carefully found out that they were fossils of a certain plant, but they did not know the plant. There are too many things in the endless wilderness, only a few people's insights, and no shapeshift great art knows. It is estimated that at least one level 8 high level of water attribute monster core can be obtained. Wei Suo is only certain that the sale is not a loss, because the spiritual Qi in this piece is very pure and very suitable for use in culture. Unlike black water lotus, which also contains the amazing water spirit Yuan Qi, it also contains a lot of origin Qi, which is not conducive to the cultivator. If black water lotus is used for culture, it will wash away the pure water spirit Yuan. There are also a lot of Qi, and it is estimated that only 30% of them are used by origin Qi. So for a while, Black water lotus is a bit sloppy for Wei Suo. It is used directly for culture refining, and it certainly won't be able to make it. However, if you continue to cultivate, you need to cultivate the same powerful energy as indestructible clean bottle, but not know how many things you need to find to cultivate black water lotus. Before 20,000 products, spiritual stones, now the cultivation world, there is no one who knows the goods at this time. Ling Longtian shook his head and couldn't help but say such a sentence. Because at this moment, although some people are vying for this divine phoenix stone pellet, but the current price, it is only 20,000 down the price of spiritual stones. If the true value of this kind of thing is known, I am afraid that millions of products of spiritual stones are simply not available. 3,000 downs of spiritual stones, Wei Suo outsurging sound, the price has directly added 10,000 products to spiritual stones. This madman is screaming again. Everything spends great treasure to buy stone for stone spirit. Wei Suo before disorderly shout price fall at this time is to achieve the miraculous, who have remembered his surging sound, no he shouted price up unreasonable, and he had nothing to contend with, and that wearing purple gold shapeshift great art the young man seemed to have made up his mind to deal with him after the auction, so Wei Suo clatter bid, and after a while there was no one to bid, Wei Suo directly to the price of 30,000 low-grade spiritual stones, bought the star for high level cultivato R, the value is not shapeshift great art estimates of divine phoenix stone pellet. Divine phoenix stone pellet A divine phoenix stone pellet is actually bought by you with 30,000 downscale spiritual stones. Green-robed old man can't help but wow. The meaning is still unfinished, then what other chapters are popular? You Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 870. Chapter 870 Talking and Laughing, Golden Core Hematmesis. YY Voice Channel 1778555 Intercourse. Welcome to the Great Treasure Home. 1_YY Channel 7.7 8 Fufus Great Treasure. The small divine phoenix stone pellet also brought Suns and Gui to the room of Wei Suo's. This book is from 16cook.org. This divine phoenix stone pellet doesn't have any spiritual chi, but it's a natural desolate, extremely tight material, and divine consciousness doesn't go through. Ancient divine phoenix's egg transformed from a spicy herb. Wei Suo puts this thing in his hands and looks at it carefully. The seemingly ordinary stone shells are dotted with countless stripes, but they are superimposed like countless stars. There is a slight cutting mark on the top of the oval egg. It should be the cultivator that happened to get this thing. I cut a little bit of exploration, but now it seems to be exactly the same, so I didn't cut it, but chose this item is for sale. Wei Suo pointed out an antiquity ominous fire and found that the surface of the stone egg spread out along the surface of the stone egg. There was no shapeshift great art to burn the stone egg. Does this entire divine phoenix stone pellet have such amazing firepower? Is it feasible to cut it into thin slices to make shapeshift great art? Wei Suo couldn't help but look at Ling Longtian. It's certainly possible to get a fire, but the ancient great treasure can find it. It's all about preparing the heavenly tribulation to resist the heavenly tribulation divine fire, the thicker the better. Ling Longtian looked at Wei Suo. Ancient great treasure can get this thing. Basically, it cuts out the pores, removes the inner medicine, and then the whole stone resists the heavenly tribulation divine fire. Isn't that only to resist this skull great treasure small one secret place? Wei Suo asked strangely. The great treasure of this divine phoenix stone pellet can only resist the small piece of the head great treasure. I don't know if I don't know. Ling Longtian looked at Wei Suo with contempt. To make the great treasure of heavenly tribulation, which is not shocking and stunning, divine ability is a shocking figure. For this level of character, many can only save one. The skull can also survive and pass heavenly tribulation. Get the heaven-shaking achievement. Wei Suo stunned, think about it too. If you don't talk about others now, just say that if the naked body is defeated by the great treasure half, the primordial beginning divine wood divine root in the naked body can also keep him, so that he is very quickly reshape the body. The thing that looks like a vine, I don't know if there is any mystery. Wei Suo took divine phoenix stone pellet up first, and his eyes gathered on the rattan-like things that Ling Longtian and green-robed old man didn't know. That rooted naked body is a purple-colored thing that has long been introduced by the old man. It is said that the material is not very heavy. Divine consciousness has no shape-shift great art penetration. There is no spiritual chi, but in the dark secret place, it is there will be a little purple light. Ultra-purple vines, 5,000 downs of spiritual stones. When this thing was long and the old man was introduced, no one immediately bid. At this moment, Wei Suo has already got divine phoenix stone pellet, so I don't want to waste any time, directly out of surging sound. Great treasure is because they think that this vine does not have any special secret place, plus they feel that Wei Suo is a madman, so there is no surging sound and Wei Suo bidding. Wei Suo is only once when the price was called, I took it directly. This thing is a bit strange. After the arrival of this ancient rattan thing, Wei Suo and Ling Longtian and green-robed old man could not see anything. This thing is like a bone, but also like wood, but it is several times heavier than essence metal. There is no surging sound when it is beaten. Divine consciousness is not worn, and it feels old. There is no breath. After a while, Wei Suo couldn't help but even Dark Emperor's sword chi and cut it down for a while. After cutting it, the inner and outer surfaces are exactly the same, which makes Wei Suo really no shapeshift great art to speculate on what it is, so it can only be collected first. Let's go. Let's see what the Dugu family has in the end. Wei Suo reached out and woke up Dugu Yufan and the old lady. Helping people who have killed their biological fathers to deal with their own brothers will not be a good person. You are still good to cooperate. So let me and the old people reunite. I will spare you a life. After waking up two people, Wei Suo points out a few splendid light, playing on Dugu Yufan and the old man. Dugu Yufan and the old man were all shocked. The divine sea on the body had a broken surging sound. Both of them had a surging sound scream, but they were screamed by Wei Suo. The screaming surging sound was sealed in the throat. Did not come out. This time, the two were abandoned by the cultivation base of Wei Suo. You obediently follow me, and when I let you leave, you will leave again. Wei Suo didn't leave anything lust. After saying this to the two people, he went out with Ling Longtian and Yejiaxian. Dugu Yufan and the old man were pale, but they didn't dare to say anything. Follow Wei Suo and others to leave this secret place. Sun Zengui, who knows the true identity of Wei Suo, did not have much to say. He sent Wei Suo and others to the city, and secretly transmitted the sound to Wei Suo's ear, telling him that he had arranged 2 disciples in the city to deliberately export. It is said that Wei Suo is probably a golden core second-layer rogue cultivator called Snow White but Reverend. Wei Suo directly let Ye Wei and Ye Xiaozheng take their own way to the hidden shop of Dugu Yuyun. While spilling divine consciousness, 3 cultivators secretly followed, Dugu Yuyun's great treasure brother and 7 uncle. The people are not there. Dugu family is too careful to do things, this guy is too arrogant. Wei Suo's mouth could not help but sneer, and the young man wearing the purple gold shapeshift great art suit has already followed, pretending to be a stroll, far behind them. Xi and Shengji, according to the guidelines of Ye Wei and Ye Xiaozheng, Wei Suo soon arrived in front of this Dugu Yuyun hidden shop. There is only one old man in the shop wearing a yellow leather gown, a white head, and some hunchbacks. Does this shop mainly operate some low-grade characters, waiting for things? It doesn't seem to have much business, and once I see so many people walking in, the head is already white, and some of the hunched old people suddenly look at it, and the eyes can't help but reveal a nervous look. The treasurer does not have to worry, it is a friend we can trust, Ye Wei immediately said to the humpback old man. The hunchback old man's face is still hesitant, and there are many concerns in his heart. Reassured, I am a friend of Dugu Yuyun, there will be nothing. Wei Suo went up and looked at the hunchback old man, smiled slightly, and quietly said to the hunchback old man, "You see the young cultivator in the secret corner of the secret place wearing the purple gold shapeshift great art, that is pretending to be how many guys in front of the booth?" This, the hunchback old man glanced at Weisuo, the young man's purple gold shapeshift great art clothing, the spirit light flashed, and it was conspicuous, so the distance was very far, but the hunchback old man saw it at a glance, but he simply I don't know what Weisuo said in the sentence. This person secretly follows us and wants to be unfavorable to us. I will let him vomit a blood. Weisuo smiled and said the same to the hunchback old man. What? The hunchback old man was another glimpse, and he subconsciously turned his head to look at the place where the young man wearing the purple gold shapeshift great art clothing was. Let the old man in the hunchback suddenly treasure the mouth. Weisuo's voice has not yet fallen, he just turned around and saw that the young man wearing the purple gold shapeshift great art clothing has been hit by a huge earthquake, a blood suddenly sprayed the exit, apparently suffered a heavy blow. Golden core great treasure cultivator. And let the hunchback old man stop breathing even more, the naked body is completely frozen. This young man wearing a purple gold shapeshift great art clothing spurts out a layer of blue spiritual chi. Oh, obviously condense a wishful look. Spiritual chi kanji. The young man wearing the purple gold shapeshift great art suit is obviously a golden core great treasure cultivator. Ah! At this time, the young man wearing a purple gold shapeshift great art clothing is also in a mess. Many cultivators are exclaiming, many cultivators are now known as the extraordinary young people are hiding cultivation the base's golden core great treasure cultivator, and everyone does not know how this young man suddenly became inexplicable, without any warning of a spurt of blood. Damn swindler, are you afraid of revealing your identity? Ling Longtian stunned a surging sound, and she naturally knew that Weisuo had directly wounded the young man with a great treasure by shapeshift great art. It doesn't matter, we are in a position far from the scope of his divine consciousness. He doesn't even know it is my hand. Weisuo shrugged his shoulders indifferently. I don't know if this guy will learn a lesson, be a little alert, and stop coming to me. Brother Wei's divine ability is really hard to imagine. Ye Wei and Ye Xiaozheng looked at each other and saw the meaning in the other's eyes. Dugu Yufan and Daddy's face are gray, and divine ability like Weisuo is simply that they don't even dare to have revenge. This is 5,000 feet, at such a long distance, there is no surging sound and there is no interest in hurting a golden core great treasure cultivator. How did he do it? What is this divine ability? Is he really who? The hunchback old man looked at Weisuo and couldn't speak at all. The old treasurer, rest assured, there is me, no one can hurt Tuguyun again. Weisuo patted the shoulder of the hunchback old man and said with a smile. Predecessors, come with me. The hunchback old man stayed for a while, and his eyes were filled with a pleasant surprise. Then he immediately said this with force and walked in with a Weisuo toward the back of a storeroom. After removing a regular treasure with a pungent smell, a mantle's entrance cover was exposed. The hunchback old man opened the stone cover and Weisuo followed him. In the dark cellar, there was a stench, and there was a stone bed. Tuguyun sat on the stone bed, and it was dark and black, and some of the skin seemed to be festering. Tuguyun, you should recognize me, I am Weisuo, rest assured, everything will be done by me. To the secret place. Seeing a stranger first enter the hunchback old man, Tuguyun apparently changed his face, but Weisuo's surging sound has also been introduced into his ear. It's you, Tuguyun was shocked and had an incredible surging sound. Pu Weisuo nodded, didn't pause, reached for a hand, shattered Nine Eyes heavenly bead, wrapped it with true Yuan, and all entered Dokuyun's naked body. Dugu brother, it's okay. Yes, Xiaozheng and Ye Wei have also appeared behind Weisuo's, and Ye Xiaozheng's surging sound has also sounded. Dugu took a few deep breaths and nodded. Without speaking, it was obviously calming down. Immediately, his body quickly shed a small amount of pus, and his skin color slowly recovered. The meaning is still unfinished, then what other chapters are popular? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 871. Chapter 871 You Are Nothing. Chapter 871 You Are Nothing. Update time 2011-11-1416, 00 words 3101 VIP. Chapter content. Subscribe to What Is Going On. A cultivator wearing a black essence metal vest that covers the small half of the face fell off the air and landed in the place where the young man in the purple gold shapeshift great art clothing vomited blood. Shrimp brother, Ling Zizao of Ling Su sect, spit a blood in this secret place. I dare not go forward to check. Two young cultivators wearing cyan leather armors immediately went to the cultivator and gave a surging sound to report. Ling Su sect's genius cultivator, which has been successfully created by core formation, how can suddenly spit out a blood in this secret place? The cultivator wearing a black essence metal armor suddenly felt shocked and asked very deeply, what is he secret place now? I don't know, we have already checked the people around who saw this scene. It is said that he suddenly vomited blood, and may have been injured before. Two cultivators wearing cyan leather armors immediately replied, he has already left the city from the east. Is that who can actually beat him to vomit blood here? The cultivator, wearing a black essence metal armor, indulged for a moment, no longer said it, and flew up, and swept away toward the gate of the ferry gate in the city. It is clear that this cultivator wearing a black essence metal armor and two cultivators wearing a cyan leather armor are Immortal Armor Sect's patrol disciples. Immortal Armor Sect has a very good set of refining clothes, so basically the disciple is a set of armor. The difference is that the higher the level of the division's clothing grade is higher. The source of spiritual stones, the great treasure part of Immortal Armor Sect, is also derived from the recourse of some materials for refining armor and the finished goods. The golden core great treasure cultivator that vomits blood in that place is Ling Zizao. He hurt so badly? Who dares to hurt Ling Su sect's genius disciple? At this time, among the secret place houses in Immortal Armor City, more than 10 cultivators were gathered. Dugu Yun's great treasure brother, 7 uncles and others were among them. These are all heavyweights of the Dugu family, the lowest. There is also a cultivation base for the Thought Division Realm 3rd layer. Those people have already remembered from Xinchen. In addition to the shopkeeper of the store, there is also a middle-aged sallow face cultivator, which should be out of town. Suddenly, a red-faced old man pushed the door straight in and said quickly, very good, it seems that the other party is very arrogant. How, do you think that you have moved a snow-white butt peak? Reverend, there is no fear, cannot put us in the eyes, they are going to miscalculate this time. The 7 uncles in the gold shirts sneered a surging sound, and he and all the people in the room stood up. Shrimp 5th, you can let the armor reverend and the black wind reverend leave, this time can never let this person escape. Wei Suo and Ling Longtian are at the forefront, and Yegyu Wei and others are closely behind him. The afternoon sun is very harmonious, compared to the turbulent cloud spirit continent and the heavenly profound continent northern part, which has become a wilderness. This secret place is very calm and peaceful. Wei Suo walked unhurriedly along the great treasure road of Immortal Armor City, and he brought the humpback old man. The humpback old man surnamed Zhong, under this kind of lust shape, also tried to help Dugu Yun. There is lust righteousness, so he not only brought the old man now, but he is also going to bring the old man and Yegyu Wei and others back to the cloud spirit continent. Wei Suo can feel that more than 3 people have come up at the moment, but he has not even used divine consciousness to find out how many people have followed, because for him, as long as there is no divine mystic great treasure, unless there are hundreds of golden core great treasure cultivators that can block him in a certain area, and it is difficult at the same time, otherwise there is no meaning at all. These people thought that they were hunting for the fat sheep, but they did not think that they wanted to hunt, it was a heavenly dragon. Wei Suo did not go straight to the direction of the shapeshift great art. Instead, he walked straight out of the Jinnan Great Treasure Door of Immortal Armor City and headed for the wilderness outside the city. These people will definitely start the wilderness outside the city. He is to create such opportunities for these people. Outside the authentic treasure door of Immortal Armor City, there is a bluestone ancient road that extends 10 miles into the city. The bluestone slabs of Qingxi ancient road have been polished by the cultivator's footprints, and the gaps in the stone. There are a lot of wild grass wildflowers growing out, and some yellow and white wild chrysanthemums grow very bright. The Qingxi ancient road extends into the wilderness. This kind of scenery is very unique. Wei Suo laments in his heart. Unfortunately, many people who are full of enthusiasm will never see it again. Duguyun, you still want to escape. Only after a few miles on the Qingxi ancient road, a surging sound sternly shouted, many cultivators chased up and vacated. Duguyun, it is the people of Dugu family who are chasing Duguyun. Is Duguyun just in front of those people? Dugu family has so many cultivators above thought division realm. It really is a very deep path of cultivation family. Around this bluestone road, many cultivators entering and exiting Immortal Armor City and a small free market next to it were all alarmed. The momentum of the Dugu family is amazing, with at least 40 cultivators flying up and chief lame. In the ordinary low-grade cultivator, every cultivator of the Dugu family is amazingly cultivated base. Actually, I also moved 2 golden core great treasure cultivators. Wei Suo just took a look and didn't need the Ling Longtian reminder to see that 2 of the cultivators were golden core cultivator camouflage. One of them is the cultivation base of the golden core first layer late stage, and the other is the cultivation base of the golden core second layer middle stage. Because I didn't want to reveal my true identity for the time being, Wei Suo nodded to Ling Longtian and then took a picture and rolled up everyone like Yegyu Wei and fled towards the wilderness of the distant secret place. He has been flying for more than 2,000 miles, and there is almost no smoke around him. He has pretended to be somewhat annoyed by the rear and stopped. If the news I am waiting for is correct, you should be a Snow White but peak predecessor. Seeing that Wei Suo and others stopped and chased the 7 uncles who wore the gold shirts first to surging sound. Predecessors seem to be guilty of interfering with this matter, and I am an enemy of the Dugu family, if I want to intervene in this matter? Wei Suo smiled slightly. You should be the 7th brother of the previous generation. You are sinful because you are killing your brothers because of your own burning. I admire the predecessor's cultivation base and I don't know how to speak with my predecessors. If the seniors are obsessed with it, they will definitely fall on the spot. The 7 uncles wearing a gold shirt suddenly had a surging sound and sneered. More than 40 cultivator groups surrounded Wei Suo and others. The 2 golden core cultivators no longer concealed the cultivation base, and the volley stood on the side of the 7 uncle. You are not a Dugu family, what is your identity? Wei Suo glanced at the 2 golden core cultivators. Golden core first layer late stage cultivation base is a dry and thin old deist with a black scorpion on his left face. The dark gray spiritual chi is tumbling, and the condense looks like a simple square shield. The other cultivator of the golden core second layer middle stage, the spiritual chi on the body, formed a black light and heavy wind, and shrouded it, giving a very gloomy feeling. Snow White but peak reverend, it seems that you are rarely walking outside, connected to Immortal Armor City, but I don't even know. When I heard the words of Wei Suo, the old and thin old deist made a slap in the face, and said, in the lower armor reverend, it is the Immortal Armor sect master. The fellow deist is Uyghur reverend, I don't know if fellow deist has heard of it. If you don't want to fall down, just leave now. Wei Suo looked up slightly and looked at the distant secret place sky and shook his head. The guy actually looked like this and died. He was so worn that he dared to come far secret place. A blue long rainbow flew in, which is the young man wearing the purple gold shapeshift great art. The young man was shocked by the shapeshift great art by Wei Suo's great treasure. It is reasonable to say that even if he was injured by his own, he would not be aware of it. He would not dare to do anything, but this person would dare to come. It's a bad way to eat Wei Suo and others. I can only say that I am looking for death. It's Ling Zizao. How did this person come here? Listening to this person's meaning, Ling Zizao is also coming against him, in the face of 3 golden core great treasure cultivators and so many of us. This person dare to say such a great treasure? Many people in the Dugu family are stunned, and Wei Suo's words make them feel that this person is definitely sick. Fellow Daoist, you are too arrogant. The Uyghur reverend, wrapped in the black light and heavy wind, has a surging sound full of murderous aura. He is indeed Dugu Yuyun and should be the real owner of the Dugu family. Wei Suo ignored the reverend, and took Dugu Yuyun, who was dressed as a succulent face cultivator, and looked at everyone in the Dugu family. He said calmly, the truth of the year is clear, and you must be clear that you are willing to give up if you stand on the side of Dugu Yuyun. I can give you a chance, ha 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 ha. The old man, who was called the 5th child by the 7 uncles, first appeared out of the terrible great treasure smile. Reverend is also followed by great treasure, and killing intent is full. You dare to say this, just a cultivator of golden core 2nd layer. If you are faced with so many people, you dare to say this. Do you think you is that domineering Reverend Wei Suo? You are right, I am Wei Suo. It's a pity that I will give you the opportunity. You still have no one to reflect and come to us. Wei Suo smiled very regretfully and renewed her teeth. Ha ha. Are you Wei Suo? Ha ha, you are Wei Suo, then I am. Reverend, like the best laughter, laughed out. You are nothing but a dead body. Wei Suo looked at the reverend, and said seriously. Puff! The great treasure of reverend's laughter suddenly stopped, a blood spurted out, and the black wind outside the body collapsed and fell directly from the sky. At the same time, Wei Suo reached out and a thin, dark golden sword light instantly penetrated the heart arteries of the old 5 who were also smiling at great treasure. The old 5 did not even respond to the reaction. Everyone's eyes suddenly stagnate, and the pores of the whole body were chilling. Everyone saw that Uyghur reverend had no anger at the moment. Wei Suo seemed to just glance at him. He had already cut off his life and was killed at once. Chapter 871. You are not the fastest text update. A Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 872. Chapter 872. Who is colder than anyone? Yo, quote, Armor Reverend slid back and left, and when Wei Suo hit the sharp shift great art with the great treasure, he felt a peerless atmosphere. Harem. The smell of Wei Suo's body made him shudder, and an unspeakable terrifying straight into his bones. He is a golden core great treasure cultivator. At this moment, the only person who can respond to Dugu family is him. The rest of the people are all chilling and shocked to be difficult to move. You are also a sin, killing your brother, killing you directly, too cheap for you. Wei Suo's eyes gathered in the face of a white, wearing a gold shirt of the 7 uncles, calm out surging sound. There are countless gods and gods in the sky, and countless shapeshift great art wheels turn. Hey, an unspeakable powerful energy directly shocked the 7 uncles into the mouth. At the same time, Wei Suo did not hide his divine consciousness, the rolling divine consciousness pressure, and instantly swept the square. All the cultivators, including the resurrection of the armor reverend, and the Ling Zizao that just plucked and haven't reacted yet, all of them are like falling ice caves. The majesty of the majesty makes the whole sky and mind seem to freeze. No breathing by shapeshift great art. Chi/P. A thin flare popped from Wei Suo's fingertips and landed on the bloody 7 uncle in the mouth. In the shocking screaming surging sound, the whole body of the 7 uncles was completely burned up, twisted and dropped in the air, but it was not dead for a while. Deal with him soon. /P. The owner of Dugu's family at the moment, Dugu Yuyun's great treasure brother, screamed in the face of no one. Wei Suo didn't need any flying shift great art at the moment, just relying on True Yuan's shock, stepping forward in the air, and after one finger ignited the seven uncles, Wei Suo's eyes had already fallen on him. On the body. Ah! More than a dozen people from the Dugu family barely made a blow, and dozens of flaming flames came to Wei Suo. I have given you a chance. Wei Suo still moved forward, reaching out, a pang great treasure white Sumi divine out of thin air, all the great of the Sinorama, mountain art great shapeshift all was shattered, pang great treasure's powerful energy poured out, more than 10 of the cultivator to his hands of the Dugu family is directly shaken asunder, flesh and shapeshift great art clothing fragments in the air fly sideways. You can kill your father, but you can't let you die easily. When Wei Suo stepped forward in front of the void, his face was white but white, and Dugu Yuyun's great treasure, who was afraid of even surging sound, had already spurted his blood, and his naked body trembled in the air. Harem, a black and black ghost claw caught the air and caught the person directly in front of Wei Suo's. Then Wei Suo reached for a few green brilliances on this person. Ah! This man was shocked by the screams, the skull was suddenly flying, and there was a 3-foot-long green glow inside, like the oil in the naked body gathered on his brain, and then his brain was used as a wick. It up. Pu. Wei Suo reached out and handed out a powerful energy, setting the person in the void, like a sky lantern. Why, still want to run? Wei Suo is calming out the surging sound towards the far secret place. The cultivator of the fastest moving Dugu family, the great treasure of Dugu Yuyun, has been a long way from Wei Suo, but when Wei Suo is surging sound, this person suddenly called great treasure, he is now like a powerful power of Pangret treasure was set in the air, and no movement could move. Then a strong great treasure's killing intent instantly suppressed him, giving him endless fear. Pa/P. The cultivation base, one of the best characters in the cultivator of the Dugu family, was directly shaken and split, and a great treasure piece of blood was washed up in the air. Ah! Armor Reverend was so horrified that the heart was about to split, and as a splendid light emerged from his treasure-receiving pocket, he suddenly wore a battle armor. This battle armor is very quaint, covered in light green patina with many great treasure stones in it, and an amazing spirit light. Silver Star Stone. Wei Suo's green-robed old man suddenly burst out of a surging sound. The great treasure is called the Kid, this battle armor is set with Silver Star Stone, don't break it. Silver Star Stone? This battle armor is actually set with one of the materials that make the green-robed old man look like /P. Between Wei Suo eyes flash, step by step, around the body is like a rising sun. Ah! The cultivator of all the Dugu family is feeling the end of the day, and it is trembling without the control of shapeshift great art. Just one step, Wei Suo appeared directly behind the armor reverend. There was no use of any shapeshift great art. Wei Suo just shot it, and the silver divine light flashed, and one hand broke the piece of the armor reverend. Shapeshift great art great treasure and spirit light outside, grabbed the throat of armor reverend and lifted it up. The sect master, golden core stage great treasure cultivator of the immortal armor sect, which was unrestrained, was directly raised by one hand. Ah! Moreover, all the cultivators who saw the scene were completely blown up. Broken, armor reverend's neck bones are all broken, there is no life directly. From the perspective of the spirit light and the rugged powerful energy of this battle armor of Armin Reverend, it is definitely the amazing shapeshift great art great treasure of Deo rank middle grade, but the powerful energy of Deo rank middle grade, even the power of the flesh no shapeshift great art contends. You can't kill me. Just arrived, Ling Zizao, who was scared to death, desperately escaped, crazy giant treasure called. After killing the armor reverend in one fell swoop, Wei Suo immediately pointed out a few dark golden swords and directly smashed the cultivators of several Dugu family from the air. No one could stop Wei Suo's blow. A time of breathing. On the Dugu family side, several cultivators were killed and shot in the air. At this moment, the cultivator is now Wei Suo's gaze, and has already gathered on him. Oh! Why can't you kill you? Ei Suo was already ready to kill this person, but at the moment he heard the great treasure of the young golden core cultivator, but he asked with such interest, and reached out to play a dark golden sword light. Falling into a cultivator of a Dugu family. Do you know who I am? I am the pro-discipline of Ling Su sect master. And I am married to Breaking Void sect. Do you dare to enemy Ling Su sect and Breaking Void sect? Ingzizao the hysterical roar. I said how it was related to Breaking Void sect, but Su Qianhuan and Lin Taixu and Huang Puchualun I killed it. Although it is ranked as heavenly profound continent, it is even a divine mystic great treasure. I am afraid of any marriage of sect that I can't have, Wei Suo said with a funny look at the young golden core cultivator. Yo, you are really. Ingzizao suddenly reacted, just like seeing a ghost. All the body was cold and sweaty, and his lips became black. I have given you a chance, but once people think they have a great treasure, they usually become stupid than pigs. Wei Suo shook his head and glanced at Ling Zizao. Ah! Ling Zizao is screaming, blood is splattered in the air. Wei Suo shook his head. This kind of person was dare to rush before he was shocked. He was completely arrogant. For the sake of he died and died in the world. Instead, he had the same characters as Lin Taixu and Su Qianhuan. Do not kill me. Let us. At this moment, all the remaining Dugu family members have no thoughts of resisting at all. All the people have reacted and kicked a piece of iron plate and hit a kind of killing god. Wei Suo killed Huang Puchualun and killed countless sect master and old antique characters in the hibernation gas sea. He has already reached heavenly profound continent. In the mind of the golden core stage cultivator, Wei Suo is like a god. Devil-like characters, only 1/10 of thousands of years to kill a star, not to mention these only the cultivator of thought division realm. But Wei Suo didn't have any hands to stay in the air, and he made a surprise to heavenly sword, killing all of them, and no one left. I used to surround them with these people. When he said that he had the last chance for these people, he carefully looked at everyone in it. Everyone here didn't hesitate, and no one really had any Dugu. Yu Yun looks like a sly look. It was only a moment, except that the great treasure of Dugu Yu Yun was still green with fire on his head, and he was still twitching out of any surging sound, and all the other bodies were taken up by Wei Suo, and the entire sky was restored. Silent, only a touch of blood chi remains. Looking at the horror of Dugu Yu Yun's great treasure brother, Wei Suo was slightly sneer. He knows that if the outside world is now in the hands of Dugu family, so many people will die in his hands, and he will say that he is cold-blooded and killing, just like the ancient killing of God, but these cultivators are not colder than him. Let's go. Wei Suo didn't manage the great treasure brother of Dugu Yu Yun who was still in the air. After nodding his head at Ling Longtian and Yeguwei, he continued to move toward Panwang City according to the original plan. Wei Suo is preparing to go back to the fearless heavenly palace along Panwang City, then return to take the water attribute monster core that Sun Zengui collects for him, and then return to Cloud Spirit Continent. After Wei Suo and others left for a moment, Dugu Yu Yun's great treasure brother, who was set in the air, fell from the air and turned into a green fire, which was stained with ashes. Soon after, many of the cultivators in this secret place had the shapeshift great art rushed over. Soon, shocking news came out that all the important figures of the Dugu family, as well as Immortal Armor sect master, Uyghur Reverend, and even Ling Su sect's genius cultivator Ling Zizao were killed in this secret place. This news suddenly caused a sensation of the giant great treasure. Countless people are speculating, Ling Su sect even moved a million spiritual stones reward, said to avenge the genius disciple. These people are really looking for a dead end. When Sun Zengui, who knows lust, heard the news, it was just a sorrowful smile. If Ling Su sect knew the real name of the person who killed Ling Zizao, I am afraid that all the people would be scared. Where can I dare to openly avenge what? Earless Heavenly Palace is also one of thousands of years of accumulated, heavenly profound continent 10 great treasure grade sect, /p. Just when Ling Su sect began to offer a reward of millions of spiritual stones, and traced the whereabouts of the people who killed Ling Zizao, Wei Suo and other people had already arrived in front of the hill gate of Fearless Heavenly Palace. It's still a nose pass, 5 successes, and strive to restore a little 5 noses tomorrow, return to 70% of the skill. Euro Hapter 872 Who is faster than the cold-blooded text update, A. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 873. Chapter 873 Lonely Cold Continent Force. At this moment, Wei Suo and others are in front of an uninhabited ancient city in a desert wasteland. Shrimp's entire ancient city has been completely weathered, only a piece of giant great treasure is broken, but no pattern can be seen, just like a piece of giant great treasure. This square of great treasure is about a few miles away from the back of the ancient city. It still looks like an desert. But when Wei Suo and others arrive in front of this ancient city, there are 2 escape lights that appear out of thin air. Generally, it came out from the air behind the ancient city and flew toward Wei Suo's and others. The 2 escape lights are getting closer and closer, but they are 2 male and 1 female cultivators. The male cultivator and the female cultivator are very similar. They are all wearing a white shapeshift great art and a cyan jade hoop. In behind the head, there is a ponytail. The man's body is tall and straight, his face is square, very handsome, and the female cultivator is a melon face, white and fair, quite moving. The 2 men stepped on a white jade and a bright red dragonfly, which floated out of the dust, naturally with the style of a great sect disciple. Fellow deist, look at your appearance, know that our mountain gate is here, so come, don't know where we are, what's the matter? The 2 young cultivators arrived at the place of Wei Suo and others in front of him for more than 100 feet, and stopped in the air. Then the young male cultivator arched the hand and looked directly at Wei Suo and others. You sent me a message to you Feng Reverend, saying that it was a visit. You tell him that if someone who knows Lu Zhong comes to him from afar, he knows who is coming. There is nothing nonsense about Wei Suo, watching the 2 discours of the Fearless Heavenly Palace. Fearless Heavenly Palace is different from the general great section. The gate is very hidden. It is in the secret place desert of heavenly profound continent. It is covered by shapeshift great art. The general cultivator does not know the hidden body of Fearless Heavenly Palace. Seniors are friends of Supreme Elder. When we heard Wei Suo say, the discours of the 2 Fearless Heavenly Palaces suddenly showed a dignified color, and even the title changed immediately. Although neither of them could see the Wei Suo's real cultivation base, they all could see Wei Suo's is extraordinary. Being able to talk to you Feng Reverend about intercourse is definitely not an ordinary cultivator. Please wait for the seniors, we will immediately inform the seniors. After seeing Wei Suo nod, the discours of the 2 Fearless Heavenly Palaces swiftly swept back faster. The Huangpu aristocratic family also has divine mystic great treasure. Yes, the maps of many heavens domes owned by that family were handed down from the Huangpu aristocratic family of that era. Shrimp many path of cultivation families are not as good as great sect, which is unique. After the departure of the 2 discours of the Fearless Heavenly Palace, Wei Suo and Yegyu Wei and others talked about the intercourse of the small surging sound. After killing the cultivators of the Dugu family, Wei Suo and Yegyu Wei, Yes Yao Zheng and Dugu Yuyun went all the way to the front of the hill gate of Fearless Heavenly Palace. Because the king before only the moon and silver star of the origin of the stone, and these 2 things Wei Suo happened to have been, from the Plate King City, has lost the original meaning, but has been to Immortal Armor Town, to Fearless Heavenly the Gate of Palace, from the Plate Wan Kingdom is also a recent choice, So Wei Suo and other people in the Panking city is nothing to stay, but directly using its transmission shapeshift great art array relay. As for Wei Suo said to put a path of Duguyufan and the two men, Wei Suo is directly to two people respectively to take a black incense dan, and then left the two people in a residence. This kind of black incense dan for cultivation base has been abolished for two people, at least dozens of days to sleep to wake up come, then even if two people wake up dare to utter, Wei Suo and other people estimate also already left the heavenly profound continent. For Wei Suo to do shapeshift great art, green-robed old man is naturally very ugly, and feels that it is too much trouble. However, Wei Suo said that he is very reputable, and he has to establish a reputable image, which makes Ling Longtian can't help but roll one's eyes, even a few surging sound profiteers. All the way down, Yegyu Wei and others thoroughly understood the current secret place of Wei Suo, and Wei Suo also learned more about the past years of Yegyu Wei and others, and never visited lonely cold continent. Also have some understanding. The entire lonely cold continent is nearly twice as large as heavenly profound continent and cloud spirit continent, but most of the great treasures are bitterly cold, covered by ice snow white but, and the number of cultivator towns is only cloud spirit continent and heavenly half of profound continent's look is standard. A lot of snow white butt covers the wilderness, and it is common to have no city within a few 100,000 miles. Many cities there is no direct transmission shapeshift great art array relay, which makes some cities gather cultivator quite a lot, are in a city surrounding activities, the scale of city's great treasure, also makes some path of cultivation family too inconvenient between the city, are in the city outside some convenience or produce a rich place to build their own residence. So long ago, it has formed many of the path of the cultivation family for a long time, some path of the cultivation. The strength of the family instead great section listening to Yegyu Wei etal, lonely cold continent has 5 levels of great treasure, namely Little Extreme Circle, Great Cold Palace, True Thunder Sect, Yuhua aristocratic family and Zhangsun aristocratic family. Among the forces of the equivalent to 5 levels of great sect, 2 are the path of cultivation family that only accepts their own children. In addition to these 2 path of cultivation families, such as the Huangpu aristocratic family, which has swallowed the Duguyun ancient map, the strength is also very good. It is said that there are many golden core cultivators. What surprised Wei Suo was the star crossing, where divine mystic great treasure named Qing Lingying was killed by ancient emperor corpse and killed by immortal ascension sect master, achievement and virtue sect master. Sect, there is no shapeshift great art listed in lonely cold continent's 5 great treasure class section. Star crossing sect is in the secret place lonely cold continent, a secret place in the remote city of Star City. Lonely cold continent is not famous. I heard a divine mystic great treasure. Yegyu Wei and others are very surprised. Because there are not many cities in lonely cold continent, how many divine mystic great treasures can be used in the entire lonely cold continent? Yegyu Wei and others are not known, but according to what I heard in lonely cold continent, it is said to be just a pole. A small number of great treasures have the existence of divine mystic realm cultivator, and the total number should be similar to other great treasures. However, for the number of divine mystic realm cultivators, Wei Suo has some unique insights. Since he is getting closer to divine mystic, the more he knows how much resources a cultivator has to repair to divine mystic. For example, in his own case, even if Immortal Root 5 Secrets is not built, it is a single golden core. From the golden core 5th layer initial stage to divine mystic, there are hundreds of thousands of water attribute monster cores, which must be there must be a large number of high-level water attribute monster cores. A great treasure land is like a giant great treasure's spirit field. The variety of spicy herb and monster core produced must have a certain amount, a certain resource limit, and how many top cultivators can be supported. It is almost fixed. Even in a period of time, there are many cultivators with extremely high talents, shocking and stunning. If the resources are not enough, the final ones will definitely be just a few. Of course, There are also cultivators that can get some amazing luck, one step to the sky, but this cultivator is like Weisuo, which is just one of the two. Ancient time, many spiritual herbs have not disappeared, and many of the gatherings of spiritual chi are much more than they are now, so at that time, the great treasure of divine mystic realm can be much more than now, but the resources of the current cultivation world are no shapeshift. Great art supports such a large number of great treasures. Lonely cold continent. Although the number of cultivators is no more than heavenly profound continent and cloud spirit continent, according to Yeguwei and others, there are many products that are nearly twice as large as heavenly profound continent and cloud spirit continent, and twice more than equivalent. Resources, so Weisuo judges, maybe lonely cold continent's divine mystic great treasure can be several more than cloud spirit continent. However, this is only Weisuo's speculation, with the naked body, or after lonely cold continent, and then inquire. For Weisuo, lonely cold continent is definitely a glimpse. The Samsara Tower of Divine Mystic 5th layer great treasure is a must, and Samsara Tower is simply to a complete heritage. However, in the Weisuo's plan, it is only after breaking through Divine Mystic. After talking for a while, an imposing breath suddenly came out of the air, and a blue-red escape light spurred toward Weisuo and others. Yufeng Reverend, don't you come here. Weisuo smiled and said that he was surging sound. The cultivator of this blue-red escape light, wearing cyan as the bottom, has a red striped robes like a meteor-like trajectory. The wrinkles on the face are like a knife. It is the supreme elder of the fearless heavenly palace, Yufeng Reverend. Fellow Daoist Wei, is it really you coming? Yufeng Reverend was incredible, sound transmission to Weisuo and other people's ears, did not expect Weisuo to suddenly appear in front of the fearless heavenly palace's mountain gate. I had a hand with Su Shenjun intercourse. He was injured by one thing and I didn't have shapeshift great art to recover origin chi in a short time. I was got back to heavenly profound continent by what real martial arts gate he used. Weisuo felt that Yufeng Reverend had no hostility and smiled. So come to fearless heavenly palace and want to see what you said about the strange bluestone and see if you can see some mystery. I don't know how fearless heavenly palace lust is now, is it convenient for me to go in and see? Did Su Shenjun be hurt by you? Yufeng Reverend suddenly felt a bit stunned, but he didn't say much, and immediately showed some dignified look on his face. Go, I will take you in to see the thing. Our fearless heavenly palace is now a great treasure, I am told by you, not against you, and there is nothing to hinder me to go in, but I happen to know a hidden secret place, and you are related to it. Sky Sword Sect is preparing a thing, ready to deal with you soon. Sky Sword Sect prepares something to deal with me. Weisuo, who followed Yufeng Reverend toward the fearless heavenly palace, suddenly bowed. Chapter 873 Lonely Cold Continent. The power of text update is the fastest. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 874. Chapter 874, Huishan View Suanchi. In the hills of fearless heavenly palace, it is also like the heaven transformation cult, an amazing mountain. Shrimp difference is that there is no splendid light in the whole mountain, and the secret place is full of exotic flowers, Lingqi waterfall, many white deer and feather cranes in it, many beautiful ancient temples in the mountains. If it is looming, the whole mountain will give you a feeling of being in the air. Although there is no amazing splendid light, the Weisuo divine consciousness flies, but it feels a lot of strong great treasure. Throughout the fearless heavenly palace, it is clear that there are traces of the legacy treasure cultivator, restrictions, just like an ancient great treasure, the atmosphere is in it, not revealed. An ancient road of sheep-fat white jade squats on this giant mountain. On this ancient road, there are many disciples of the fearless heavenly palace, and there are hundreds of childish children who are still on the secret place on the ground. Sitting, they are holding a roll of bamboo slips, and they are reading their heads. The entire fearless heavenly palace's gates are also forbidden to fly and shapeshift great art, but Yu Feng Reverend's position in the fearless heavenly palace is very limited and unrestricted, so it is directly to the back mountain with Wei Suo etal grab. What kind of things is Sky Sword sect ready to deal with? Wei Suo asked calmly as he looked at the amazing great section that year killed his parents of the Sky Sword sect disciple. There is a person called Du Wei, a person called Cao Yi, according to demon mark ominous vein, said Lu Xiangcheng to know that the Du Wei no achievement, just Sky Sword sect ordinary disciple, but called Cao Yi is already golden core second layer base, is Sky cultivation sword, sect master true disciple, in the Sky Sword sect status is extremely high. He reconciled with Sky Sword sect's great treasure, shapeshift great art, Sky Sword sect must be dealt with, and now he is not in a hurry to deal with Sky Sword sect, but Sky Sword sect is eager to deal with him. This made his heart sneer. Huangpujualun is Sky Sword sect's only divine mystic great treasure. Even the current Sky Sword sect master is just a cultivation base of the golden core fifth layer. Sky Sword sect has to deal with him. It must rely on some amazing shapeshift great art or shapeshift great art great treasure. Sky Sword sect has such a great level of great section, although Wei Suo is near, he has to be careful. What is the naked body, I don't know, but it is said that Sky Sword sect has already passed the Revelal's wind surging sound, not killing you, and just before today, Sky Sword sect also sent someone to come and ask me to come. Ask me how I found out about Huangpujualun last time and want me to accompany you to find out. I see Sky Sword sect, the two elders who came to me, Chief Lame, are crazy. They seem to have lost the great treasure that they can't tell, like a red-eyed gambler. And I listened to words and listened to their tone. They seem to have something that would kill you, and they will soon be ready to finish. Shrimp Yu Feng Reverend looked at Wei Suo. I pushed you to rely on Heavenly Sea Billowing Divine Mirror to find you, but Heavenly Sea Billowing Divine Mirror has fallen into your hands with the fall of Huangpujualun, powerless. They left very dissatisfied. Did they leave soon? Wei Suo's eyes flickered for a moment. According to the said shapeshift great art, must be the Sky Sword sect already know that they go to Cloud Spirit continent around Wei Suo's a batch of old antique, gush out the black fetal road fruit and 8 jin extinguish divine crystal such a thing, results did not get Wei Suo, but was Wei Suo killed a number of, has been killed red eyes, since also dare to say not to kill his oath, this preparation of things, certainly then 8 jin out divine crystal that kind of shape shift. Great art device is also amazing. Things of that level do have a deadly threat to Wei Suo. After leaving for more than an hour, it should be difficult to find them. Yu Feng Reverend knows that Wei Suo must have asked the two elders who were directly at Sky Sword sect, so he shook his head and said this. It is very likely that it is a sword array. Yu Feng Reverend knows the true identity of Ling Longtian, so Ling Longtian has no cover at the moment, and he has a surging sound. The power of some swords is amazing. Sky Sword sect is based on culture flying sword. Maybe there will be something a powerful sword array kid, very likely. It seems that I have to explore it in the dark, or else I will not be accidentally yin. Green-robed old man is also out of surging sound immediately. He also knows that some sword arrays can even combine hundreds or even thousands of sorting cultivator flying swords into a secret place, attacking and defending a naked body, and powerful energy is extremely terrifying. It seems that I will have Sky Sword sect again this time. Wei Suo nodded and didn't understand what the Sky Sword sect was doing. Back to Cloud Spirit continent was not at ease. Now fearless heavenly palace has people who are dissatisfied with you, can't you hold back? Then, Wei Suo asked Yu Feng Reverend again. Now Yu Feng Reverend equivalent to is his ally if fearless heavenly palace has a bad influence on Yu Feng Reverend and is determined to be an enemy of him, he does not mind removing it by the way. No, I have already explained to the Presbyterian Council that you do not want to fearless heavenly palace as our enemy, great treasure home is safe, We fearless heavenly great palace most elders tracing the past, I think you are very reputable, plus you and I fearless heavenly palace do not resolve the enmity, so all have reached agreement, and no one is dissatisfied with this resolution. If they know that Su Shenjun is not against you and you are injured, I am more fortunate. Yu Feng Reverend looked at Wei Suo and said, if my fearless heavenly palace is not strong enough, there is no shapeshift great art and sect against true martial sect and mystic wind sect, otherwise we can even brighten the precious treasure and you intercourse it's a hell, everyone says that damn swindler is reputable. Ling Longtian is very unwilling to grind his teeth and linger in his heart. There are many cliffs behind the hills of this giant mountain where fearless heavenly palace is located. It is as sharp as a knife and is very steep. There are many canyons. Among these canyons, there are also many palaces and pavilions, and many disciples are on the inspection, which is obviously also an important place for Sky Sword section. Yu Feng Reverend took Wei Suo and others in the valley of the back mountain and a secret place valley. There are many stone forests in this valley, a piece of cyan great treasure, or like a green cow, or a tree like a goshawk, without a high great treasure, just with low weeds. There is a wooden house in front of a great treasure stone forest. There are a lot of fearless heavenly palace disciple wearing cloth and obviously the appearance of the ordinary casual disciple. At the event, Yu Feng Reverend came down with Wei Suo's and others. The miscellaneous disciple was all awesome. This valley is home to some of the smuggling disciples that help sect grow some wooden sultry that can make the low-grade cultivators' naked body strong. Even the inner sect disciples rarely enter it. Yu Feng Reverend introduced a few words to Wei Suo and walked into the inner stone forest with Wei Suo. Wei Suo sprinkled divine consciousness and shrouded the entire stone forest, which is a strangely shaped bluestone in the secret place. The whole stone forest is very quiet, without any smell that makes him feel strange, it seems to be just ordinary stone. In the deep secret place of this stone forest, Yu Feng Reverend stopped in front of a piece of bluestone with a high height and a broken column. There were many yellow wild chrysanthemums and weeds around the bluestone, and there were no traces around him. Is this bluestone? Wei Suo curiously looked at the bluestone. He quickly saw the side of the bluestone that looked ordinary and had no unique breath, and dropped a few pieces of bare stone. Inside the stone skin, there are some pale yellow lines, and it seems that there is a figure pinching out the shapeshift great art. Theling Longtian and others also made this secret place almost at the same time, and they all came together. This pale yellow grain feels like a mural, and some people draw it up, but each of the pale yellow lines seems to have countless finer textures, giving the impression of a naturally generated divine mark. I have already tried, the stone skin outside can be cut, but the rock in the grain appears to be difficult to cut. Yu Feng Reverend, watching Wei Suo and others, said, shapeshift great art powerful energy will be bounced out on this piece of thing, and no shapeshift great art will enter. Divine consciousness penetrated and only felt that there was a pattern inside, but divine light was dazzling and couldn't be seen at all, and the stone was not captured by shapeshift great art, and even the treasure receiving pocket was not charged by shapeshift great art. Wei Suo carefully circled the bluestone and tried to cut a few pieces of stone and tried the impact of shapeshift great art powerful energy. Outside the stone skin and bluestone is no different, but the stone inside is very amazing. Wei Suo's operation shapeshift great art powerful energy dozen, unexpectedly and Yu Feng Reverend said the same, was directly rebounded, and Ling Longtian's grey bracelet, the grey spirit light, seemed to interfere with the stone, and under the grey spirit light, the stone seemed to be a common stone. Next, Wei Suo couldn't help but explore with divine consciousness, and Ling Longtian flashed directly in his eyes, seemingly wanting to see through this great treasure stone. What damned thing! Ling Longtian couldn't help but call a surging sound and blinked. She saw the first time in this great treasure stone seemingly suspended in a picture, but almost at the moment of seeing it, this picture is suddenly popping out the endless blazing divine light, let her eyes directly feel the needle. The tingling of the tie made her dare not look at it again. She couldn't see what was in the picture. Is it a catalog? This should be the legacy of the predecessor great treasure. Wei Suo's divine consciousness explores and is perceived as a picture suspended in the great treasure stone while being blocked by the endless divine light. Wei Suo is inspired by true immortal divine Mark's shapeshift great art, and there is no shapeshift great art to break through the flaming divine light. It's just that Wei Suo can be sure that this kind of thing is definitely not naturalized by the heavens and the earth. It is definitely a legacy of the predecessor great treasure. Next, Wei Suo and Ling Longtian and others tried everything to do shapeshift great art and even removed all the stone skins outside. But in addition to the appearance of more than a dozen human-shaped mural-like pale yellow traces, the entire piece of great treasure stone does not use shapeshift great art to play. Without the sense of divine consciousness, there is no abnormality at all. Wei Suo even searched carefully in this valley, including around the valley, a secret place, and perceived that there is no other atmosphere left by great treasure, just like the 7 great treasure secret place. He also sat in a lot of places, at different times, with closed eyes, to see if he could understand the unique mystery in the same way as in Xylagu, but one day and one night, there was nothing at all. Is it cultivation-based divine consciousness not enough? It seems that I can only wait until the future cultivation base is higher, then try again. Another great treasure. After half a day, Wei Suo took the immortal emperor wood in his hand and shook his head and sighed. This stone gives him the feeling that, like the immortal emperor wood on his body, it seems that he has been completely transformed into a mysterious thing by a certain heaven-shaking great treasure. This kind of real treasure, realm, is really too much for him, so that he has no understanding of shapeshift great art at the moment. And he certainly has no shapeshift great art to consume here, so he can only give up temporarily. But Wei Suo and Ling Longtian, who are ready to give up, are one of them. Wei Suo took immortal emperor wood out. When he shook his head and sighed, all the yellow lines on the blue stone suddenly flashed out. Xuanhuan, then immediately contracted back. Chapter 874 Huishan Guangxuanxi text update is the fastest, a path to heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 875. Chapter 875 Great Treasure into Heaven Deceiving Scripture. Looking at the pale yellow lines on the surface of the blue stone, the light is shining back and shrinking back. It seems that all the pale yellow lines have completely disappeared into the blue stone. Wei Suo's divine consciousness subconsciously reintroduced into the inner shrimp. What shocked him was that the violent divine light originally scattered in the catalogue of bluestone seemed to fear the atmosphere of immortal emperor wood and crouched down. The catalogue inside is full of brilliance, and he perceives it clearly. Dreamed change of the surface of the bluestone and Wei Suo's shocked god lust let everyone know that there are extraordinary things. Ling Longtian is also a bit embarrassed, she is flashing in the eyes, and the inside of the catalogue is clearly seen. Great treasure into heaven deceiving scripture. Just a glance at this catalogue, Ling Longtian immediately called out surging sound. Listening to Ling Longtian's surging sound seems to know the origins of this catalogue, but Wei Suo didn't immediately talk to Ling Longtian intercourse, but took out a piece of note blue, and quickly took this bluestone inside. The picture is recorded. This piece of bluestone is mysterious. After his divine consciousness and this catalogue are in contact, this catalogue is like a heritage. It has begun to fade and slowly disappear into this bluestone. Half stick of incense less than time, Wei Suo recorded this complete catalogue that was too late to understand the contents, released a long breath. Just as he grew out of this tone, the catalogue inside was already faint and could not be seen clearly. It is estimated that the time of half stick of incense is not needed, and it will be completely blanked. Actually such an ancient scripture. Wei Suo is also in the middle of the shock, and the non-stop direct view of this recorded catalogue. To his surprise, this ancient scripture turned out to be a life-saving shapeshift great art. This ancient scripture turned out to be a shapeshift great art that can smash hundreds of hairs and turn out hundreds of avatars like yourself and flee in all directions. Such a shapeshift great art is similar to shapeshift great art, such as thousands of swords and Xuanhuan, but the difference is that this great treasure into heaven deceiving scripture is the embodiment of the avatar and the real body almost in the same way. It is difficult to tell the time when you can continue to count the T. According to the annotation on this ancient scripture, this article shapeshift great art can only be smashed by God, so there is the word bullying, so this Deo technique shapeshift great art can even be used to resist heavenly tribulation. Avatar is used to attract many of the powerful energy of heavenly tribulation. Originally in Dragon Burial Mound, the white ancient heavenly dragon finally passed to Wei Suo's consciousness, a great treasure of divine mystic fifth layer that could suffer from the Scorpio and was finally destroyed by heavenly tribulation. Shrimpand with Wei Suo's flesh and golden core again strong great treasure, plus now is a double golden core, if the breakthrough to double divine mystic, all over the origin chi lead the world origin chi changes, but also as long as the white heavenly dragon consciousness in the divine mystic fifth of the layer treasure, so Wei Suo earlier inferred that their own heavenly tribulation I am afraid to advance, I am afraid in divine mystic fourth layer, will be in advance heavenly tribulation. Later, in the conversation with Ling Longtian's intercourse, Wei Suo learned that in the era of Ling Longtian, many divine ability heaven-defying's great treasure, divine mystic fifth layer and true immortal first layer side heavenly tribulations everywhere. Yes, even some heaven-shaking characters, when divine mystic third layer and fourth layer, also inspired heavenly tribulation. So in the Wei Suo's plan, as soon as you successfully break through divine mystic, you will start to prepare for all kinds of robbery, after all, from the words of Ling Longtian, or from the white ancient heavenly dragon. In the sense of giving yourself, Wei Suo can clearly perceive how terrifying of heavenly tribulation is. It is from the records of some classics. Wei Suo also knows that throughout the ages, I don't know how many cultivation worlds can be blocked by the supreme existence, and finally because of the inability of the heavens and the earth, and fallen into the heavenly tribulation. Now Wei Suo has no beginning sword scripture defensively, with lightning waning moon and MT the supreme strong shapeshift great art like Sumi great lifting, plus the great treasure by shapeshift great art, is both offensive and defensive. Now this great treasure into heaven deceiving scripture is actually stronger than Wei attack for Wei Suo. Shapeshift great art is also useful. To use divine mystic first layer. Wei Suo quickly saw this in the notes of scripture. However, Wei Suo is not disappointed. Now he has escaped. He has at least a strong shapeshift great art like void walking step shapeshift great art, and he knows very well that with the strength of his double golden core, I don't need to divine mystic first layer, as long as you reach the peak of the golden core fifth layer late stage, you can already use this Deo technique shapeshift great art. This Deo technique shapeshift great art is not far from his current cultivation base, it is a great treasure. Do you know this ancient scripture? After seeing what it was like shapeshift great art, Wei Suo looked at Ling Longtian. This is a great treasure into a divine ability of the great treasure into great treasure emperor. Wei Suo and green-robed old man suddenly took a breath of air. Don't be too surprised, great treasure is a great treasure and is close to our time. It is just the top grade character in the venerable emperor, not the immortal great emperor and the heaven transcending great emperor. Ling Longtian glanced at Wei Suo. Although I don't know how he would leave such a stone here, this great treasure becomes a heaven deceiving scripture. It is just a mediocre one of his many divine ability. It is not the most powerful inheritance. Dead steel teeth younger sister, your appetite is too great treasure. Wei Suo suddenly rolled one's eyes and almost couldn't help but slam on her. Before Ling Longtian explained it to him in detail, he also knew very well that in ancient times, the cultivator with the title of great treasure was one person who was able to fight for two people, the existence of two heavenly emperor level cultivators, that is, one person. You can single out the two more true immortal cultivation base. But in the time of Ling Longtian, 70,000 years ago, great treasure was just the title of top grade character in venerable emperor, But Ling Longtian said, Venerable Emperor, which is also true immortal great treasure? Is it not enough to have at least 2 true immortal presences? For the current cultivation world, let alone 2, it is a true immortal, but it is already the existence of the shape-shift great art. The ancient emperor corpse is estimated to have only half of the true immortal cultivation base left, but 3 divine mystic great treasures have been played, and Ling Longtian is not scared. See Wei Suo Roll 1's eyes appearance, Ling Longtian is hum a surging sound, a pair of you are very ignorant, like great treasure into great treasure emperor this level of existence she saw very many appearance, you know what, great treasure into great treasure emperor go is also immortal great emperor immortal way, his most powerful is great treasure into chop deajing, can chop and kill part of their flesh, into a powerful divine weapon, the existence of several days, powerful energy. Extremely terrifying. He also has a great treasure, which can be completely dead, concealing himself into a real dead wood, and his cultivator of the same level has no special divine ability, and there is no shapeshift great art perception at all. It is very likely that he will be attacked by him. The great treasure is the strongest inheritance of Cheng Deijing and great treasure. So smart. Wei Suo suddenly rolled one's eyes again. These 2 powerful shapeshift great art made him feel incredible and difficult to understand. What kind of origin is this great treasure into a great treasure? Green-robed old man is also a glimpse of it. On the level of divine mystic, he is a complete student in front of Ling Longtian. It is also a rogue cultivator of heavenly profound continent, but high intercourse travels in all directions, the traces are erratic. It is also a top figure in your cultivation world. Ling Longtian said. It's also heavenly profound continent, Wei Suo and green-robed old man were a bit embarrassed. It was heavenly profound continent. In the past tens of thousands of years, there have been so many divine abilities amazing great treasures, the entire cultivation world, 7 heavens dome. How many amazing existences have occurred inside and outside? The higher the cultivation base, the higher the level of contact, the more you have the kind of awe that you are sitting on the ground. Although it is also an emperor-level character, but with the immortal Grand Deo, great treasure into a great treasure compared to the immortal Great Emperor, but it is a downright younger generation, the achievement is far from good, great treasure is about to feel the atmosphere of immortal Great Emperor, this divine light in the great treasure stone will be awe-inspiring. Only let me get this ancient scripture. Wei Suo thinks a little, and some want to understand why this great treasure stone has changed so much after I didn't intend to take immortal emperor wood. At this moment, the strange yellow human figure on the great treasure stone in front of him has all disappeared. The whole piece of great treasure stone is cyan. It looks like ordinary bluestone. Divine consciousness explores it. The inside is empty and there is no picture. Record. Pa. Wei Suo tried again the shapeshift great art to impact this piece of great treasure stone. Everyone now has this great treasure stone will not rebound powerful energy, but the shapeshift great art powerful energy shocks up, the whole piece of great treasure stone is still extremely tough, like a shapeshift great art great treasure, the obvious texture was also permanently changed by this great treasure. Can I charge? Next, to you Feng Reverend, I was surprised to see that Wei Suo True Yuan was covered by Wei Suo, and the one-man high great treasure stone was lifted by Wei Suo and cast freely with storage bracelet. This great treasure stone can be used as a shapeshift great art shield, almost as long as the defense of the half-immortal level. This is your own thing, you can put it up, you can also use it as a good shapeshift great art shield. This Deo technique shapeshift great art is for you, but divine mystic can only be used. If you can break divine mystic, I will pass you the Deo technique shapeshift great art. After a tentative test of a great treasure by shapeshift great art, after suppressing this great treasure stone, Wei Suo put the great treasure stone in front of you Feng Reverend. This piece of great treasure stone let Wei Suo some have no language, great treasure into great treasure emperor walk really is an immortal great emperor the same way, he just try out true UN penetration. After that, you can control the shapeshift Great Art Shield like control of the Great Treasure Stone. A common blue stone can be made into a half-immortal level shapeshift Great Art Shield, which makes Wei Suo think these Emperor level figure is really too abnormal, one self-distance between. These characters, really still have very great treasure distance. Thanks to fellow deist Wei Yufeng Reverend has no nonsense, put away this great treasure stone, and I feel very emotional. Although he and Wei Suo are hostile, but now with Wei Suo's, it is like to intercourse. After a lot of face the friend, the main Wei Suo's acting, is indeed very upright, grievances are distinct. These things are also useful for you with great treasure. However, Wei Suo took out another treasure receiving pocket and gave it to Yufeng Reverend. Heavenly Dragon Blood Fossil, Yufeng Reverend is stunned. He didn't think it wasn't. Wei Suo gave him a lot of heavenly dragon blood fossils that would increase the life essence. I hope that fellow deist still has some extraordinary luck. I will wait until this time, and I will have a chance. Wei Suo said goodbye to leave. This heavenly dragon blood fossil was originally intended to be reserved for Li Ziyi, but now Li Ziyi's status is not needed, and Yufeng Reverend is now like a friend to him, so he will leave this thing. Giving Yufeng Reverend, he went to Sky Sword Sect and didn't want to be involved in Fearless Heavenly Palace. Sky Sword Sect, I would like to see what kind of means you have. Wei Suo sneered in the heart of the Fearless Heavenly Palace and Yufeng Reverend. Chapter 875 Great Treasure into Heaven. Deceiving Scripture text update is the fastest,